Um, it was, I guess, sometime the end of last week.
Okay.
You know, Coach had no choice. I mean, he had to go through with the procedure because his number one priority is to be back for fall camp and be full go. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, you know, he's doing good, and he's raring to go.
How is he doing overall and just going through this process?
I mean, it's been a challenging process for him, but like anything else he does in his life, he attacks it, and he's going to hit it head on. And so he's in good spirits, and you know, everybody said he goes through what he's doing, he'll be fine.
Coach, he often says, I don't have bad days. I might have a bad moment, bad days. Have you seen that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and one of the things that he can do more than a lot of people that I've been around, he is one of those guys, he actually shows by example how to live and how to approach things. And, you know, you can change a situation by how you think. And I think that's one of the things that I think that he does for our players and our staff, you know, and everybody in the building. That, hey, we can do this, and it's a mindset.
How do you feel that Coach Prime wants you to be the one representing him when he can't be there?
Huge honor. You know, Coach and I, we believe in the same things. That's why I'm at Colorado, because of Coach Prime. I mean, that, the truth be known. I have a lot of respect for, you know, what Colorado has done, the tradition that they have, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Coach. And I believe in the same things he believes in. You know, first of all, he's a good man. He has a crystal clear vision of where he wants this program to go, and he has conviction about what he believes in. And those are the things that I believe in. Those are the values that I have. So I'm very honored to be here. I'm very honored to represent Colorado. You know, one of the, you know, to me, there's so much tradition that this university has, and our job is to help. We've never lost the tradition. We just got to get the wind back so people are excited about it.
I remember talking to you in the spring. You said there's a lot of growth to do with the secondary, the defense overall.
Yep.
With spring workouts and spring conditioning, how's everything been going, and where do you feel like the Buffs are at?
Well, you know, you're not going to find exactly where you're at until probably a couple of weeks out before the game, because you've been through summer conditioning, you've been through our player-led practices, the things that the NCAA allows us to do. And I'll tell you this, our players have worked extremely hard. Even the new guys that have come in that weren't here in the spring, they've kind of jumped in. You know, I believe this players, they're going to do what you expect them to do, or what you demand that they do. So they've done some really good things. I've been really excited about watching them work. As far as the secondary is concerned, I think you know, seeing what we've done this summer, I believe we can create more depth than we've had. And we're gonna listen. We're gonna play a lot of guys. I mean, if there's people that can play, we're gonna play them. And I mean, that gives us an advantage. So the more depth we can create, that's going to help us.
Is Cormani one of those guys?
Yeah, Cormani's definitely a guy that has the ability. He's got you know, of course, he's got a lot of work to do, you know, to get to play at this level. And Coach Prime will be the first to tell you, it's not about what you do out there, it's how you do it. We want to play a certain way. There's a certain standard that we're going to do, and it's our job as coaches to get these players to that place.
As a defensive coach, any nerves about Travis playing on offense, or are you excited to see how?
Listen, I believe you play your best player, and you can't have reservations, you know, about playing. I mean, if he helps us win football games, let's play him, because that's what it's about. And it's just like in practice. You have to practice a certain way. You can't worry about, well, he may get hurt. Well, you're not going to develop if you don't practice. So I think that's the way we approach it.
Seeing Travis and Shador at an event like this, where, you know, every team around the conference is bringing their best guys.
Right.
and there's a lot of stars in this conference. Does it kind of give you confidence that when you look at Shedeur and Travis, they kind of match up with all the other stars in this conference?
Absolutely. I mean, I take Shedeur. I'm glad he is our quarterback. I mean, you look at his numbers, where he's at. You look at him as a player on the field, of what he does. He's got great command of our team. All right, he can execute the offense. He's very bright. He makes really good decisions. So, and if you look at his numbers compared to everybody else across the country, listen, he can't help who he was playing against. All he did was complete passes and threw for a lot of yards and won a lot of football games. And that's one thing that when you look at as a quarterback, if you're a winner, I mean, that affects the rest of the team. As far as Travis goes, and I've been knowing both of these young men since they were freshmen in high school. We recruited them both at Alabama. Yeah, I can remember Shedeur and Travis coming to camp. In fact, Travis and I just got finished talking about that. First time he came to Alabama on a visit. So we recruited them there. That's what kind of players they are. So they deserve to be here. Now, we've got to go out on the field and compete, and both of those guys know that, and our coaches know that. But, yeah, they deserve to be here.
We're seeing Michael Harrison kind of move into a tight end role. Overall, what does that position group look like, and what is Tim Brusso trying to do to kind of resolve maybe the lack of depth there?
Yeah, well, I think you know, Coach Bruce's always done a good job of finding a guy or finding guys and taking what they can do the best and making them really good players. He did it when we were together at Florida State. He did it when I coached against him at Florida. So I have no doubt that, you know, he will take those guys and he'll mold them into what we need them to be. Mm-hmm. I feel like that position will, you know, we got some growth to do, but we'll get to where we want to get to.
Mm-hmm. I imagine Alabama is a place where they feed off of Nick Saban in his conference, and that plays a lot into how good Alabama is. So how can that translate here with Coach Prime and his confidence? Do you think that's a big part of how this team is going to play and they take on his personality?
Absolutely. I think you see every team in the country take on the personality of their head coach. And there are a lot of similarities between Coach Prime and Coach Saban. I mentioned to begin with, both of them are very good men. All right, and the players know that. And they have high standards. And they're not going to lower their standards. So that's what happens. That's how you bring people up. When you set your standards here, everybody's got to come up to that standard. And then, you know, I've heard Coach talk about it. Confidence comes from working hard, all right, and doing the things that it takes to do to now I produce, now I develop confidence. But yes, I do think that the way you approach things, like we were talking about, his mindset, is that affects our football team. I mean, I think that's what a good leader does, and I think he's shown that throughout his whole career, not just since he's been at Colorado. You look at the work of his entire career, of everything he's done, all right, and the people that have followed him. I just think, but I think that's a good correlation.
I asked Lincoln Riley this earlier, just kind of about how they last year kind of overhauled their rosters with the transfer portal. You guys have done a similar thing this offseason at CU, maybe even more of an extreme extent. But he kind of admired the way you guys have done things and just said, look, those are the rules. Does that kind of make you guys feel good about what you've done, that the peers around the conference are saying, yeah, you guys are doing the right thing when rebuilding the roster?
We didn't make the rules. The rules are what they are. And like I said, when Coach Prime came in, he made it crystal clear of what his vision was and what we were going to have to do to get Colorado football back to the place that it needs to be. That being said, all we did was, you know, we did what we needed to do to go out and get some players. There's been some criticism there. I'm sure Coach doesn't care about the criticism. Coach doesn't worry about anybody else's house. He worries about our house. But that being said, when you do get that criticism, what you're doing is you're taking away from those young men that decided to come to Colorado, all right, where they felt like they could help create more value for themselves by coming there. Now you take the focus off of them. They've come in, they've worked extremely hard, they've done everything we've asked them to do, and sometimes it's just good. It's good for guys to have a change, you know, and it's good for us. our job is to make sure we bring them together as a team, and that's one of the things that I believe that one of the gifts that Coach Prime has is he brings people together, you know, and he's got a plan for that, and he'll do that.
Before taking this job, what's the furthest west you had lived previously? Is that Arkansas?
The furthest west, Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you think that your coaching career would take you to Colorado at some point, or what's it been like kind of transitioning to a different part of the country?
You know, I did not think that I would come this far west. I had a chance a couple of times when I was at Florida State. I was offered a couple of jobs out on the West Coast, but at that time, you know, I didn't think it was the best time to move. I didn't know it was going to be Colorado. I always had a ton of respect for this place, but the one thing that I found out is when you move to different parts of the country, and even for your kids and your family, they see a different culture. They see people that are different than them. They grew up different than them. So they learn to appreciate that. I learned that when I was coaching in Louisiana. We lived in South Louisiana. So my kids, my oldest two daughters, they learned a lot about the Cajun culture and all the different things that went, not just football, just living. And that's, you know, that's what I'm excited about. It's been neat. I mean, I get to drive to work every day into Boulder and see that. Are you kidding me? So a lot of people ask me, they said, you know, at your age, why would you want to move? I mean, it's a great opportunity, and it's a great part of the country. We've loved it since we've been here, and you know, now the biggest thing we got to do is win.
I have to
keep working with Jaquez and Des Moines as you've developed, and how ready are they to just really step up and start playing?
You know, I think both those young men are really good football players. You know, Des Moines had last year it was tough on him because he had that knee injury in the Arkansas game. He was really coming along. He's very athletic. He was one of the most athletic linebackers in that class coming out. He can really run. He's got a lot of range. He reminds me of Telvin Smith that I coached at Florida State. He's that, you know, that kind of athlete. Jaquez is a super smart young man. You know, Jaquez got stuck behind a couple of really good players at Alabama. Didn't play as much as Des Moines did, but he's very smart and he's very multiple. He can do a lot of things. He can play, he's played corner, he's played the slot. You know, I worked him some last year in the back end as a high safety. So, and they understand the system that we're running. So they've done a good job coming in this summer of being able to help, you know, other people in the process.
I have to ask, any new numbers? Is that policy rolling into the summer?
And as far as new jersey numbers?
Yeah.
Listen, that is above my pay grade. that Coach Prime has his policy for that, and our guys earn numbers. He's made it very clear. Two guys want the same number, then you got to earn it.
You guys added Shiloh officially to the roster over the summer. Just curious what it's been like getting to know him, and if he's got a similar personality at all to Coach Prime, and just in general what you're expecting him to bring to your room.
Well, I've known Shiloh for a long time. So I recruited him when I was at Florida State. I actually left Florida State before he graduated from high school, but I watched him through high school and, you know, knew what kind of athlete he was and what he could bring to the table. He's a very smart young man. He's worked really hard this summer. I've challenged him to do some certain things. What I've said, what I believe, you know, Power 5, draftable safeties should be, and he's worked hard at that. He's like I mentioned, he's very smart. He's tough, but it'll be interesting to see how he does going throughout the fall.
To my knowledge, you guys still have some more scholarships available. How is recruiting going in that aspect, and what position group specifically do you want to fill?
Well, you know, a lot of it will be based off of need, of course. You'd always like to have a perimeter guy that can cover. I mean, just the way offenses are these days, you can't have enough guys in the perimeter, whether it be a corner or a slot corner. Anytime you can bring a guy up front that can affect the quarterback, you want to be able to do that. I think we've done a good job of, you know, bringing some of those guys in. Hopefully, that's one of the things we got to change from last year. Is we got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. So, but yeah, any place where we feel like they can help us win right now, we're going to recruit.
Awesome.
A lot of the guys in your safeties room have experience starting in college football, whether it's at the FCS level or Pac-12. That's what you want as a position coach. Do you anticipate maybe having to at times put your arm around guys' shoulders and having to play a little bit of a psychologist role at times because of that?
You know, I think guys have to understand that it's all about competition. We're going to play the players that play the best. We're going to play the players that practice the best. That is the standard. So I think if you are upfront with guys and tell them what the expectations are, then you're going to find the people that are going to compete. But yeah, you're right. We've had some guys that have played a lot of football, and listen, all that experience is going to be good. If we got 12 guys that can play, we're going to play 12 guys. I mean, depth is a good thing, but you got to make sure you do it consistently and show that over time.
Thank you, Coach.